Hello everybody and welcome to the penultimate round of the Teamwork Racing 2020 Championship. I'm Peter Butcher and I'm bringing you the coverage of today's racing from Aston North Reversed with the FXO. Around about 4 minutes to go until the start of the qualifying session this evening, so plenty of time to bring you up to speed with what's happening in a very tight team and driver championship. So as I mentioned, this is the penultimate round of the championship, round 43 of 44. Next week we're at the open config K32 track with the Formula 1 car inside Liver Speed for the finale. But tonight's action comes from the undulating track around Aston in the front wheel drive turbo car that is the FXO. The first time I believe we've used it all season long. So it's going to be a challenge for the drivers in a car that they may not have used that much in the TRR Championship. So, turning our focus to the drivers' standings, Jan Wikowski leads the way with 3,003 points. Then it's Gavin Peat close behind. Nico Bentola in P3. The top three drivers there still able to lift the Drivers' Championship, although Nico Bentola basically has to hope that Jan Wikowski and Gavin Peat fall off the face of the earth, because Jan Wikowski can win the championship today, and will bring you the scenario that he needs to fulfill in order to walk away with the championship today. Gavin Peat needs to hope for a miracle as well, really, because the championship, well, Jan Wikowski has one hand on that trophy, and he's probably about to get his second hand on that very soon. Over in the team standings, it's a similar picture. Teamwork Racing leading Yes Motorsport by only 9 points. It's been going to and fro all season long. World Class Lions in P3, Race Green Autosports P4, Born to Race still there in P5, MRC P6, TC Racing holding strong in P7, Road Appraiser up to P8 ahead of Team Sidus in P9. Then it's NRT still in P10, Energy Virtual Racing down in P11. Global Gaming Racing in P12. There you can see the rest of the top 12 teams in the team standings after round 42. With only this and one more round to go, it's really close between Teamwork Racing and Yes Motorsports, as it has been all season long. It looks like both teams have got a fairly decent turnout this evening, so we'll see what way that's going to slide by the end of today. Can Jan Wikowski lift the trophy after with one round remaining? That remains to be seen. Coming up this weekend on Sim Broadcast, we have the MRC BF1 League. You can still sign up for this, but yes, round 1 begins this Sunday on Sim Broadcast. This is a 5-round series streamed live here, and it's going to be a good one. I think there's a very decent number of sign-ups already, so if doing some Formula 1 racing on your Sundays is something that tickles your fancy, then please go along to the LFS forum and sign up to that one. Also from MRC, in the middle of December is their E-Challenge. Sign-ups are still open for that over on the LFS forum. That's a fuel-limited FOX race where you'll have to do fuel saving in order to finish the race around a very nice custom track created by Michael Malek, based on the New York E-Prix track, so we're all looking forward to that one. Should be very exciting. We have less than 30 seconds to go before the start of qualifying, and we will take you to the track just as soon as qualifying begins. So the cars have made their way out onto the track. As you can see, a whole gaggle of cars actually exiting onto the track. A couple of them cutting the first chicane, which is interesting. And that's one of the... Who is that, in fact? It's the Lithuanian flag on the roof. It's a global gaming car deciding to not use the racetrack for most of Sector 1. It's quite a long outlap, so we've got a decent length of qualifying, around 15 minutes. Again, one of the Global Gaming cars cutting the corner. In fact, several of them deciding that they don't fancy taking the corner on the back straight. That's interesting. So yeah, we'll wait to see what happens in this session. We expect to see 4 drivers from Yas Motorsport and around the same from TRR. So it's a pretty even scrap between the 2 teams that are fighting it out for the main prize. Remember that the prizes will be handed out next week. We believe around €400 of prizes to be handed out between the teams and drivers championships. So a really nice prize pool, which the drivers have been trying to get their hands on all season long. It looks like the bulk of it will be going Jan Wikowski's way. What can he do today? Some of the drivers now approaching the final sector, having warmed their tyres up to the temperature they need for probably one shot, and then they'll return to the pit lane and do the same thing again. A great turnout, as ever, for the Team Racing Championship. Joining me in the commentary box, it is Jonathan Palmer. Hi, Jonathan.
Good evening to you, Pete. I'm gonna join you from the race control room, doing both race directing, and I'll join you for commentary today. Glad to be with you. Aston North is a lovely track. We're going to be doing our TBO Challenge 6-hour endurance race at the normal direction of this, so this will kind of give us a preview of at least how the FXO might do with it.
Yeah, we're all very much looking forward to the post-season endurance. It's coming quite quick, isn't it? It's already been 4 rounds of the NDR TBO challenge. I can't believe it's been that many rounds already. But yeah, plenty of action from Aston North over the next couple of weeks.
That 6-hour,
go on.
December 20th, so kind of a little pre-Christmas celebration for everyone.
It definitely will be a celebration. Lots of interest in that race. I'm not sure whether anyone's teamed up necessarily yet, but sign-ups for the endurance race for that should be open pretty soon, I reckon.
Yeah, we'll be working on the sign-ups for that hopefully in the next week or so.
We'll start to see some lap times coming in. Some of the drivers making their way around the last couple of hairpins. 3 hairpins at the end of the lap here, Jonathan.
Yes, they might seem a little Mickey Mouse, and it is completely different to basically the entirety of the rest of the circuit. Even the first corner, which is a hairpin, is a completely different character. So those 2 hairpins kind of completely throw a wrench into how you would set your car up. Obviously, without the downforce, not as big of a deal with the FXO. Its bigger cousin, the FXR, would obviously hate the downforce choice you'd have to make. But very undulating second half of the lap. The first half of the lap has that uphill chicane. We kind of call it, it's the for speed Eau Rouge, and so, the car will bottom out at the middle of it and get very light across the top. For not at all any runoff there. So if you go up, you're going to have an almighty smash, and then just a fast, flat-out run up the back straight to the north end of the circuit. Fast left flick, and then long right-hander. So a very, very good driver's track. The better driving skills you have, getting that right line and having that good setup around set yourself up for a good run around those blind undulating corners will make a big difference in your lap time. We have about 19 cars with times on the board already. Reno Coots in provisional pole with a 2:14.61, and Botsy and Rick Carl for Citus, second and third, 2:14.77 and 15:46. Team Rock Racing, Gavin Pete is fifth. Jaban in P7 right now with a 16:65, and then Yaraloco, the first car, or the highest classified car for Yes Motorsports right now with a 2:17.34.
Yeah, our championship leader, currently P7, some 2 seconds off the provisional pole time right now. So he's going to want to improve on that on his next attempt. He's just doing a sighter lap, a very slow out lap, so not putting any energy through his tyres. So we will see how he goes about preparing for this hot lap. Well, yeah, he's taking it super easy on the tyres, isn't he? Doesn't want to get too close to his teammate up ahead. Here he goes then. Out of the final corner, using all of the runoff on the left. Then he's going to tuck it over to the right, just past the pit exit, using all the curb there, taking the shortest line as he can towards the very tight right-hand hairpin. Really tricky. This is a big bump here, and it can throw the car off into the grass on the left. He doesn't do that. Now just the uphill Eau Rouge section. Really tricky over the top of this. You have to have a lift in the middle, else you go off onto the grass at the top. He dips a wheel, but it shouldn't be too bad. Just about manages to recover. Has to lift in the middle of the second chicane, which will cost him a little bit of lap time.
7 minutes remaining in the session. Jaban trying to improve on a 2:16.65. So flat out here, it's going to be a slight lift and a dab of the brake at the left-hander, get all that speed worn off, and then gently build the speed from the apex of the right-hander onto the top straightaway here on the north end of the circuit. A lot of drivers' favorite corner in Live for Speed, this 180-degree. In this direction, it is slightly uphill. No camber at all to help you. Very good, challenging corner to keep tidy, essentially a double apex corner at the very least. Then into the undulating sweeping section, a bit downhill, blind uphill, bit on the exit of the right-hander, but just a couple sweeps here. Then a quick double left here, tap of the brake. This would be flat out in any car with downforce, so the GTRs, the Formula cars, would go flat through there. It's a thrill to see in the more powerful cars, a challenge and a tire challenger in this. Then, instead of taking the national section, we take this hairpin right-hander, and it brings us back towards the cadet pit area, and we have just short straight into these double hairpins. Kind of remind you of the original Indianapolis road course when Formula One started there, how they had those two back-to-back Mickey Mouse hairpins. And then out of the final corner, a very tidy second half of the lap for Japan. And onto the pit straight, and he'll just straight line it to the line, and we'll run a 2:16.07, which puts him up to 7th. Rena Coots still provisional pole, now with a 2:14.61. Botsy and Rick still rounding out the top 3.
Yeah, I was kind of expecting Jaban to take a lot more out of his lap time there. He still 1.5 seconds off of Renault Coots' pole time. Jaban was P7 before his attempt. He dropped down a few places and has regained P7 as Renault Coots comes across the line to begin his next flying lap. Let's see how he fares. Let's see if he can open that gap up even more. You can already hear that he's on way more of an attack mode than Jaban was, even through the first corner. The engine climbing through much higher revs. Great turn 1. Didn't scrub any speed there. Not even a shadow of a lift during the uphill chicane. This corner here is really difficult in a front-wheel drive car. Especially if the tyres are overheated or not up to temperature, you can really scrub a lot of time and run very wide there. But Renault Coutts does it perfectly. Now to the corner, which Deco mentioned was a driver favourite. If you've been paying attention to the Live for Speed progress reports, you'll know that corner has been reprofiled in the new Aston that we're all being teased with. So if you like that corner, might be time to jump into a TBO car in the TBO Challenge Endurance race, because it might be one of the last times you get to enjoy it in its current profile.
The thing about that, though, is we've only seen about half of it, so we don't know
We
what
don't
the
know about the
other
other
end
half,
of it.
that's true.
But it does look like the first part of it has been. I'm thinking it's going to end up kind of like that double right-hander
Renault
at
Aborts.
Sepang.
Yeah. I mean, it seems strange that that is the corner that's been reprofiled on that track. A lot of the other corners look like they've been left alone. But anyway, we'll wait and see. I'm sure it's great. Eric's a bit of a wizard when it comes to track design, as we all know, so I'm sure he knows what he's doing. Seems a shame to lose the 180-degree sweeping corner, but I'm sure whatever he's got in store is better. 31 cars have set a lap time during this track. During this qualifying session, sorry. And it looks like Jaban's struggling, and so is Gavin Peat. But the interesting thing is to see how close the TRR drivers are to the Aston Motorsport drivers. Gavin Peat leads UPSAS, leads Jaban, leads Number.
Yeah, it's essentially 1-to-1 right now. We got TRR, yes, TRR, yes. Then we have Loco representing Yes Motorsport today. He's currently P15. And then we have two more TRR drivers, Texas and Bots, in 23rd and 24th. So we have 3 Yes Motorsport drivers, and I make it 4 TRR drivers. Jaban has just gone into P8 with a 2:16.07.
Yeah, he's been demoted to P8 actually. Someone's gone up and beat him.
Oh,
Gavin
yeah.
Peat has jumped up. Yeah, so
Oh, yes,
UPSAS has improved now. Gavin Peat's ahead of Jaban.
Yanni Katia has slipped up into 3rd, knocking Rick out of the top 3. 2:15.08 for him.
Is Unite's
100th
driving around at the moment? Because I know he was running a Gen R tag in practice. I know he's driving for Yes Motorsport, but he often leaves it quite late to put a lap time together.
He's going into the hairpin, the anti-penultimate corner on an outlap, so he'll be getting a start to a last time lap here with under 60 seconds left in the session.
Yeah, that's leaving it late as usual. Nick Pantola likes to make his life difficult in qualifying. Strong qualifying session for Sidus. Botsy and Rick Cardle doing very well, and Yanni Katila likewise. But Renault Coutts is, especially in these front-wheel drive cars, he seems untouchable. Last week, if you remember, in the XFG, he pretty much dominated in those races. Race 2 didn't go quite his way with the huge amount of cars that we had and him starting all the way at the back. But yeah, Renault Coutts loving front-wheel drive cars at the moment, it seems. He's still 2 tenths clear of Botsy. But let's see if Botsy can improve on his next attempt. He'll get one more lap in as Rick Cardle comes up to the line. He's currently P4. Can he improve? 2:15.09, half a second off pole, and it's no improvement for Ricciardo. The clock's hit 0. Renault Coutts is on another lap, and he seems comfortable out front. But yeah, can Botsy do anything about that? He is the only other driver within that's anywhere near his time. Yanni Katila is some 5 tenths off.
It bots into the undulating section, and so Botsy, he would have to have a good improvement this lap, but 9-lap race, so we're gonna have about 22 minutes worth of racing each race, and a lot can happen in those races, and that run to turn 1 will be important, and surviving a Rouge the first lap is a tall order here.
Bit of a ragged entry to the first hairpin for Botsy, but let's see what the other two are like. He's still going for this lap, so he must think it's decent. Renault Coots is still on his lap. Let's see what Botsy can manage. It's a good final corner. Just the run to the line. He's cutting across the track to make his run as small as possible. Oh, it's close. It's half a tenth, but it's not enough. Half a
Renault Coots
tenth.
coming out of the final corner now with a 149.87 penultimate split. Across the line, Renault goes with
It's an improvement.
2:14.54, so a big improvement for him. And then Nico Pantola coming out of the final corner now. See where Nico ends up. 2:16.16. So Nico is ninth.
Yeah, he's right behind the two TRR drivers that he's battling with. Upsas has done a good job there to get ahead of those two, and at least with one attempt, Unite has managed to get into the top 10 and close to their championship rivals. Remember that Team Up Racing are leading Yes Motorsport by only 9 points, and that isn't the smallest gap that it's been in the last few rounds. So TRR with a tiny advantage over Yes Motorsports. 5 minutes until the start of the race. Renault Coots takes pole position for race number 1 with a brilliant 2:14.54 ahead of Silas's Botsy. Then it's world-class lines Joni Katila and Rick Cardle on row 2. Pekka Koivunen and Upsas on row 3. Team Up Racing on row 4 with Gavin Peet heading out Jaban. Gavin Peet needs to hope that Jaban just falls off the track if he wants to have any chance of getting two hands on the Drivers' Championship trophy. However, he'll want his teammate to finish well if they want to keep their hands on the Teams Championship. What will be going on in the Team Rock Racing briefing room before this race, I wonder. Yes, Motorsports Unite with that final attempt goes P9. Phantom rounds out the top 10. Global Gaming with a good qualifying. Tautvidas in P11, Number in P12 and Sherlock P13. Born to Race Twin on P14. Sandro Chanturia in P15, the number 888. Then it's Kid, who was joining me in the commentary box last week. He's driving this week, the number 42, down in P16. Then it's Yara Loco for Yes Motorsport P17. Ayub El Hanouni for Born to Race in P18. Global Gaming's Gustash in P19. World Class Lions Timu Soini P20. Then it's Bortz for Team Up Racing in P21, Redbot, Texas, Yari Katila and Mim round out the top 25. Then in P26 it's Global Gaming's Erotica, TC Racing's Chris McElroy behind him in P27, Bozidar Velinov in P28. Then it's Yaroslav Donalik P29, Master Race Cars Kevin in P30, Talha for MRC in P31, and the last of our 32 qualifiers, it's Born to Race Red on the last row of the grid.
Not a bad number of cars, having 32 here. And back to the traditional 20-minute open track qualifying after a few rounds with more than 40 cars, necessitating a little creativity. There was about 3 minutes left for everyone to prepare. Yeah, I do wonder what the TRR strategy is. We've basically got a wall at 7th and 8th, but Upsas being just ahead of them. They're bookended by Yes Motorsports, and there's 3 Yes Motorsports drivers in the top 12. Every other TRR driver is outside of the top 12, so it's pretty much so Yes's Motorsports favor at the sharp end of the grid for this race.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to bet against them there. Let's quickly run down the Drivers' Championship once again while we're waiting for the start of race number 1. As I mentioned in the pre-show, Jaban, or Jan Bukowski, he could win the championship today. There are only 96 points left after today, so Gavin Peet has to hope that Jan Bukowski has a shocker. Nico Pantola in P3, those 3 the only drivers that are able to lift that trophy. Rick Cardle P4, Yari Katila P5, Trespasser P6, then it's Pekka Koivunen and Joni Katila. Chris McElroy, David Godge, Michael Malak and Timu Soini round out the top 12. Abel Hanouni P13, then it's Magic in P14, Tom Salmon in P15, Frank Cinchetti P16, 17 for Teo Jose, Gabor in P18, Adam Brown P19, Pedro Picantico P20, Anton Arles P21, Daniel Balla P22, Pali Podkangas P23, and Jeff and Jacob in P24. Over in the Teams Championship, as I've mentioned, it's really close between Team Rock Racing and Yes Motorsports. This could go either way, and there's only 2 rounds left to decide this. This year-long feud between these two teams. World Class Lions P3, Race Green Autosports P4, Born to Race P5, Master Race Car P6, TC Racing P7, Road Appraiser Racing Team P8, Sidus in P9, NRT in P10, Energy Virtual Racing P11, and Global Gaming Racing P12. The other 12 teams you can see on your screen in the Teams Championship. JP, what are we looking forward to about today's race? I know that the start's going to be pretty important. Obviously, front-wheel drive, really difficult to get this car off the line effectively. And also with cold tyres, hard to get it slowed down, especially for a very tricky 90-degree right-hand hairpin.
The tire management is going to be a trick. You're going to have the heat peak to worry about. These tires are going to get quite toasty. But I think the biggest point is going to be to survive the first sector of the race. It takes one person to go wide at the top of Eau Rouge, car gets light, clang off the wall, all right, and it'll spear him right back into the race line, and we could easily have an almighty shunt. So yeah, I'm just gonna, it's a survival on the first sector, and then get into a rhythm.
Absolutely. Here we go then for race number 1 of 2. Renault Coots will start on the pole side, followed by Sidus's Botsy. Let's go to the track. Here we are then. All 32 cars on the grid, and I'll pass you over to JP, who will take you away for the start of the race.
Yep, all lights red, and away we go. Great start for Yannick Attia at the back, actually. At third, Botsy bogged down a little bit with wheel spin and the longer run outside. So on the charge down to turn 1, it's going to be all action here. First few cars get through cleanly, and definitely the whole field looking to get through cleanly. Renault Coots leads across the top of Eau Rouge for the first time. Let's see how we do. Gavin Peak getting a couple wheels on the edge of the grass, but the majority of the cars getting through just fine. So a good clean start. Renault Coots leads from Yannick Attia up the back straight. Then Rick Cardall, Botsy, Upsis, Koivunen, and Unite side by side into the left, right. Unite getting just ahead of Koivunen, and Gavin Pete and Jaban just behind. So good, clean first half of the lap.
Yeah, shout out to Pekka Koivunen, who's managed to out-qualify and stay ahead of the 2 Team Up Racing drivers behind him. A great start for Yes Motorsports, Upsas and Unite. Especially a great start for Unite up into P6. Not really sure what happened to the TRR there. They just seem to get swamped, and yeah, it's advantage Yes Motorsport right now. Action further down the field. We've got a B2R car spinning out. That'll be Ayub. No, it's not Ayub. It's who is that? It's Twin. Yarra Loco side by side with Bortz as we head into the sweepers. Everybody giving each other enough room actually through there. It's great to see. Meanwhile, out front, Yoni Catilla starting to pile the pressure onto the back of Renault Coots. Renault taking, well, almost cutting actually the first of the hairpins. We know how strong Yoni Catilla's been in the front-wheel drive FXO during the TBO Challenge this year. Let's see if he can mount a charge on front-wheel drive specialist Renault Coots. It's all go in the background. Botsy having to keep an eye on his rear view mirror as Yes Motorsport looking to get to the front of this group.
Yannick Attia has a really smooth driving style, and it shows in his performance. He's never the flashiest, he's never the fastest, but the smooth driving style helps him stay so consistent that he gains so much time on even the fastest drivers.
Jaban has moved ahead of Gavin Pete, so that means it's advantage Jaban in the drivers' championship. My mistake.
Japan needs to finish an average of 2 positions ahead for the race meeting, I believe it was, to claim the driver's title this round.
Yeah, net 2 positions, and he'll have sealed it. Further down the field, it's still gloves off between Born to Race and Yarra Loco. We've got several cars in the gravel trap at the end of the back straight. As Yarra Loco goes for a send down the inside of the 2 Born to Race cars, he gets past Ayub. Just about. Ayub will have the run as we head into the sweepers. Yep, and Ayub takes that position back quite easily, actually.
There's been a lot of contact and other aggro in this back half of the field these first couple laps. But the FXO, being a turbo car, tends towards the touring car style of racing, so some argy-bargy is to be expected.
I think this is the most pressure that Renault Coots has been under in the last few weeks. Yanni Catilla less than half a second behind him. Doesn't look like he's going to let him get away anytime soon. This is a race of attrition. It's 9 laps, but in a front-wheel drive car around a track with basically every single type of corner it's possible to have in racing, it'll be a difficult one as Yanni runs out onto the grass. Not a good final hairpin, and that's let Renault open that gap ever so slightly as we head on to lap number 3 then.
Cost Yanni about a quarter of a second, that mistake.
After Yanni Catilla, it's Sidus followed by Yes Motorsport. 2 teammates following 2 teammates. Then it's Pekka Koivunen for World Class Lions, who's kind of the cat among the pigeons at the moment, because behind him it's the 2 Team Up Racing teammates, Jaban and Gavin Pete, top of the team's Drivers' Championship. As we head on to the back straight once again, Jaban got a good run. Let's see if he can get close to pass Pekka Koivunen. We know how solid a season Pekka's had. But Jaban will want to be getting past him as soon as possible. He's closing up, but backs off at the final moment. Didn't think he had enough time or room to get past. Doesn't want to risk it, of course.
You really have to be alongside, fully alongside before going into that corner. Otherwise, it'll end up in tears for at least the aggressor in that situation.
Yeah, it doesn't look like Yanni's been able to recoup any of that time that he gave to Renault Coots at the end of the previous lap. That's how consistent Renault Coots is driving right now. Yanni has to do a little bit more than he is at the moment if he wants to make up that time, especially considering his mirrors are filling with pink. Rick Cardle's looking fast. Faster than he's looked in a couple of races, it has to be said. Great position in P3 right now with his teammate Botsi just behind. Gustas side by side with Ayub. He has the advantage, but Ayub with the inside line will have the advantage for the next hairpin. Gustas has to also defend from Yari Katila. And it looks like Ayub has got the overlap done. Runs a little bit deep into the final hairpin, but a nice exit there. And Ayub moves up to P17.
It's closing up for P6. Still a train anyway. Upsis, Koivunen, and Japan. And that is a mistake away from any position change.
Yeah, all these cars so tightly packed. I mean, we saw how close the racing was at the weekend with Rockingham with all the TBO cars. They do lend for great racing, especially in a single car homologated race that we have here. The turbos are fantastic in Live for Speed, and that's looks like a run there for Pekka Koivunen. He's really on pace here. This is a great performance from the world-class Lions driver. Normally doing very well in race 2, but today he is going out all guns blazing in race 1, and that's a brilliant move on Upsas there.
And Jaban just taking kind of a long view of the situation, and he did close up as they scrapped, but didn't force the issue, thinking of the championship ostensibly.
Yeah, I want to just bring up something that Tilo was saying earlier in the season. Whenever Tilo was commentating, Pekka was having a shocker, so thank goodness Tilo's not here today, because Pekka Koivunen, currently in P6, I've got Tilo shouting in my ear right now, so that's
Yeah, he's not happy about
he's
you
not
right
happy
now.
about that comment, but he can't deny it's true. I mean, he can, but I'll argue it back. As Pekka leads these two cars now out of the first hairpin. Sorry,
And
Tilo.
the gap is increasing between Jaban and Pete, so Jaban is pulling away. And if Jaban can get around these two, that helps in his championship campaign. As Koivunen takes a little wide entry to the hairpin, but Upsess along with that, and Upsess tucked right up under the back bumper of Koivunen across the line to complete the 5th tour of the circuit. And Koivunen taking the defensive line into the hairpin, that can lead to Upsess getting a little too far forward for the cutback, has a little bit of a tap of the left rear quarter panel of Koivunen, and has lost some ground as they head through the Arouge section.
Yeah, that's let Jaban close up to Utsas, so maybe Jaban fancies a shot down into the chicane at the end of the back straight. Not the
Oh, we have
best of
three wide
exits.
going into Eau Rouge between Yarikatila and Bots, and that's Gustus as they
It's an absolute gaggle of
sort out
cars there.
there. An absolute gaggle. We've got Erotica and Texas and Minva and Redbot through this train, so it's an all-action session here. It's Texas trying to look up the left-hand side of Erotica, and Bots and Yarikatia side by side into the right-hander.
There's a lot of Lithuanians in this race.
Indeed, yeah, this is shaping up to be a fantastic scrap. It's been generally clean. Thilo, our spotter in the background, but the information that we have 4 Finns in the top 6. Oh, and there's contact at the back between Texas and Minve. And Minve getting a little bit of an advantage, but he yields that back to Texas. Texas doing about a quarter turn at the right-hand sweep, and Minve yielding any advantage he would have gained from that back. But Redbot all over the back of Minve. A little further up the road, some argy-bargy between Tadvidas and Yarloko and Ayub as they enter the last couple hairpins. And Born to Race's twin on the back. The blue and black, or purple and black cars at the back of this, the Born to Race machines. And then Yarloko in the sky blue and white FXO.
Yeah, Twin going for a move on his teammate and makes contact with Yaroloko and holds Ayub up as a result. I think that was just Yaroloko getting into the back of Talvidas a bit late. Not much could have been helped there, really. As Yaroloko runs quite wide. And now he's going to be under pressure from the Born to Race cars. Here comes Twin. And Ayub tucks into Twin's slipstream. I reckon Twin will get past. I'm not sure Ayub will. Oh, Yaraloco with a good defence.
Well, he
Sticks his
won't get
nose on the
past unless
inside.
they send each other off in the gravel.
Yeah, I mean, Ayub could make this a 3 wide. And they could all make it 4 wide, because that's a Global Gaming car going very slowly.
Yeah, Ayub was thinking of going up the middle between Yarloko and Tarvidas, but that gap was too small, and Ayub had to back out of it. Twin going from the back of the 4 to the first of 4 up to 15th for him. And Tarvidas was 15th, is now back into 17th. As Yarloko is all over the back of Twin into the sweeping section now.
Great action as usual up and down the field. Meanwhile, about to complete 2/3 of the race, Renault Coots leads ahead of Ioni Catilla for World Class Lines, followed by the 2 Sidus cars, but now Unite, who has climbed up the grid after what he probably call an average or poor qualifying session for him. He's in P5, and it looks like he has the pace to challenge Botsy here in the final 3 laps. So let's see what happens between these two. Botsy, somewhat of an all-rounder. Unite, he has his days, but sometimes it doesn't all go his way. But this looks like one of his stronger races in the TRR Championship. And yeah, with 3 laps to go, I wonder if Unite can split the Sidus teammates and take some more points for Yes Motorsport, which is really important considering that Jaban and Gavin Pete are down in 8th and 9th at the moment. As Upsas runs very wide onto the grass, that'll hand a little bit of time back to Jaban, maybe not enough to be too important, but around here every little helps. Still really close between this group of cars from Gustash down to Mimv. 4 Global Gaming cars involved, 2 TRR drivers and a World Class Lines driver.
And don't forget to Pete that we do have the complete reversal of the grid for the second race, so that'll leave all to do for Renault and Yanni and Rick and Botsy and Unite and everyone in the top of the results table to gain as many positions as they can.
Yeah, Yari got it all wrong there. He lost a couple of places, and Redbot's going for a send on the inside of Mimv, and he's made it stick. As we've got more cars off, it's all going on in this little group. Bort's going off onto the grass. Gustav and Talvidas ahead, now pulling away, but Erotica wanting to join in the fun.
Jaban right on the back of Obsessed going into the hairpin at the national turnoff.
It's gone a bit wide, didn't get a good exit there, did he?
Yeah, I think he was a little compromised on entry and kind of mucked up his entry. Renault Coots coming onto the front straight now to start the penultimate lap of the race. But so Jaban going to have to try and collect up the gap to Upsus again. Gavin Pete looks to be pretty well safe in P9. Global Gaming Sherlock is P10, 2.25 seconds behind. So Jaban getting around Upsas would be quite important to Jaban's championship hopes.
Yeah, every single point counts at this late stage of the championship, especially when the margins are so tight between the top 2 teams.
Yarloko has run wide coming onto the back straight, and that's let Twin come alongside him.
And Abe's going to finally try and get past Yaraloco, and it looks like it's going to work. Ooh, nearly held up by his teammate. Yaraloco not able to squeeze down the inside on the first part, but tries it on the end of the
Ooh, that was cheeky.
corner. Well, I mean, it was quite clean. It's worked so far. Can he get the cut back on down into the 180 degree right? Bit of a tap, unsettling Ayub. but Eames kept the position for now.
Pete, I do believe Ricardo is slowly reeling in Yanni Katia here in the late stages of this race.
Yeah, I didn't expect to see that.
Yeah, in fact, almost alongside at the hairpin under braking. Yanni pulling out a bit down the short straight.
Yeah, the top three really close. Yanni, I would have expected Yanni to start reeling in Renault Coots, but Renault Coots really showing his pace. Rick Cardle as well. I think over the duration of the race, Rick has closed up to Renault more than Yanni has over the last few laps. But yeah, we are on the final lap now, so not much more time for Rick to get past Yanni if he wants to do it.
Unite also quite close to Botsy as they start their final lap into the first corner now. And that would be, as you mentioned earlier, splitting the Sidus pair would be good for ES Motorsports Team Championship campaign.
Just thinking ahead to the next race, this is going to be a real challenge for these drivers to get through to the front of the field. There's plenty of long straights, but there's also lots of tricky corners where you don't really want to be side by side with each other. So thrills and spills are plenty coming up in the second race. As it looks like Ricciardo's made it past Yanni Cotillo, we missed it. Into the braking zone for this short run up to the 180 degree right. Ricciardo moves up to P2 for now. Wonder if Yanni has any defence in the final two sectors contact. And yeah, Botsy really under pressure now from Unite, almost side by side as we head into the sweepers.
Yeah, that would be. Did have a car dropping right down the order earlier. Global Gaming Sherlock is coasting, and I wonder if he didn't give himself enough fuel, so he's dropped down the order. So that's elevating everyone behind Chanturia. So basically P10
Yeah, that car's out of fuel.
up a position. So he's just going to try and limp that guy home. As Unite right on the tail of Botsy, but I don't think that's going to be doable. Yanni Katia might try a last corner send here.
Well, he's only got one corner left. It'll have to be now or never. He's too far back. It's not going to be unless Ricciardo mucks up the exit, and he hasn't. Yanni's gone wide. Great drive that by Renault Coots, led from start to finish. He comes across the start finish to take the win in race number one, followed very, very closely by Ricciardo and Yanni Cotillo.
Yep, Botsy and Unite rounding out the top five. Pekka Koivunen coming home sixth. Obsess in seventh. And Jaban in eighth. And Gavin Pete in ninth. So that's one of... And now that Jaban has finished eighth, that knocks Nico Pantola Unite out of contention for the championship. And that is one of Jaban's two net positions that he'd need to gain on the round to clinch the championship today.
So yeah, if Jaban finishes the next race ahead of Gavin Pete, Jaban is champion. It's as simple as that. We watch with anticipation to see whether he can get it done. If he does the same thing in this race and gets past Gavin Pete at the start, then yeah, it'll be his. 31 cars have finished so far. I think there's a couple more left.
Last car coming across the line now, that is MRC's Talha.
Well done to Renault. That was a really, really great effort. Yeah, he wasn't really challenged until, well, after Yanni made that little bit of a mistake heading onto the home straight on end of lap 2, I think it was. Renault just able to hold that gap and hold it well he did. And we'll have a short wait now before the start of a completely reverse grid race, which will see MRC's Talha take the pole position alongside our very own Chris McElroy on the front row for that one. Then it'll be the two world-class Lions drivers of Boz and Soini. Kig and Gustas will be on row 3. Then it'll be Red and Bortz, Redbot and Minv, Yaroslav Donlik and Sherlock, Texas and Yari Katilla. Then Tautvidas and Erotica, AU Yaroloco, Twin, Phantom, Kid, Number, Chanturia, and then the championship rivals Gavin Pete, Jaban, Upsas, and Unite with Pekka Koivunen in the mix, with a great result there for Pekka Koivunen actually in that race to take P6. Really good. Then Unite P5. He will start 5 off the back, with Renault Coots starting way down in 32nd place. What a challenge he's got in his hands. I'd like to welcome to the commentary box Jack Eyre, who we've missed for a few rounds, but yeah, he's here now. Hi Jack.
Hello.
How's it going?
It's going well. How are you guys? And how is everybody watching as well?
Yeah, really good. It's good to have 3 of us for the final race of today, because it's only 1 round left, and I'm sure it's going to be a very packed commentary box next week. So looking forward to the finale with everybody around. So yeah, Jack, I don't know if you caught any of the first race, but yeah, it was...
I caught the last 3 corners of the very final lap, so feel free to fill me in.
Not sure we're going to have time to go through everything that happened, but let's just foreshadow what might happen in race 2.
Yeah, the Cliff Notes version is some cars started, everybody finished, nobody retired. There was a little bit of contact, but we did have a good clean race. Renault lights to flag. Next race, it's going to be a challenge of the top 10 getting back there after starting in the bottom third of the field. And again, that first climb up the Eau Rouge corner is going to be the biggest challenge.
What do you think's feasible for Renault Coots then, starting from the back in race number 2? How far do you think he can get up the order?
I think he can make it to turn 1. Whether he gets any further than that is anyone's guess. Let's see. Overtaking seemed pretty tricky unless the drivers ahead of you were going off onto the gravel or making errors. But with the spread of cars once you went past the top 5 wasn't that much. Everyone finished quite close to each other. It will be tricky for Renault Coots and the others to get through the field, but we've seen crazier things happen this year during the championship, and multiple people winning both races. To name a few, Lugutskas, who else has won races? Both races. Jaban, Isaac Price, these sorts of people who have managed to do it on multiple occasions. So let's see if Renault Coots can do it in this race. We've got around about 2 minutes left, I believe, before the start of this reverse grid race. And yeah, Jaban only needs to finish 1 place ahead of Gavin Pete, and he will win the Team Up Racing 2020 Championship Drivers standings. The Teams Championship definitely will not be decided until next week. That will be one to watch. But yeah, the Drivers Championship could be sealed in the next race if Jaban finishes ahead of Gavin Pete. 1 minute to go till the start of race 2. And since you're all here watching, we should do a bit of a shout out for the series we have coming up this weekend. Master Race Cars BF1 Challenge starts on Sunday. 5 rounds of Formula 1 racing to entertain you on Sunday afternoon. The sign-ups are open for that, and all 5 rounds are streamed here on Sim Broadcasts until the end of January 2021. So that's exciting. Also from Master Race Car on the 12th of December is their E-Challenge, the underfueled Formula E styled race around the very well designed New York E-Prix layout, and that'll be here at some point during the day on the 12th of December. Sign up for that on the LFS forum. That is going to be an awesome race. We can't wait. Under half a minute to go until the start of race 2 of the penultimate round of the Team Up Racing 2020 Championship. It's going to be an exciting race. Let's do it. Jack, do you want to take us away for the start since you just arrived?
Sure.
Throw you in at the deep end, why not?
Waiting for everybody to join the grid.
So it looks like an aborted start then. We have a bit of a botched grid. So hopefully we can get this race underway just as soon as possible. While we fix the grid, Jack, you've been involved in most of the championship this year with me in the commentary box. What would be your, I guess, not standout moment, but the thing you've enjoyed the most from the championship?
I think the thing I've enjoyed the most is just the environment, the atmosphere, watching the races with the same guys who are all friends, you know, week in, week out, door-to-door racing. You know, it's hard and it's fair, and there's never any hard feelings between anybody afterwards. There's no drama, you know, it's just pure racing for, you know, enjoyment's sake. So to witness that all, you know, week in, week out for the, 53 rounds that we've had, 43 I think.
Today, yeah.
Is great to see, and it's always a packed grid as well, so plenty to commentate on. I think the standout moment of the season for me was when Vitatas Lagutskis had the double win back at Rockingham, coming all the way from the back of the grid to steal it at the very final moment due to puncture for the race leader. That was a round, I'll tell you.
Yeah, a puncture during sprint race. That was not what we expected at all. But yeah, final corner. Was it? I'm trying to remember.
I think it was ISSC.
Was it ISSC or was
I think it was ISSC long.
Okay.
We did the entire Piff Path, I believe, that section of the track.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I thought it was the one. I can't remember what it's called now.
We've had a custom config there as well in the UFR, I believe. We've been to Rockingham a few times on the calendar. Because hopefully I'm not getting my layouts mixed up between
that's right.
the many times we've visited there.
Drivers are ready up now.
Just being finalised. Everybody's starting to turn green, which means they're ready to go.
Take us away for the start of this one then, please, Jack. Take two of race two.
So, Master Race Car and TC Racing front row here, waiting for the lights to illuminate.
Look at the packed grid. 34 cars.
Plenty of cars on the grid. Here we go, waiting for the green lights. And away we go for race number 2 here, 9 laps. Brilliant start from Chris McElroy on the left-hand side of the track. Keep an eye out for the World Class Lions car on the second row together, looking up the inside contact. Bars into the back of the Master Race car, number 40 there. He's lost out on the exit though, because Teemu Soini's on the inside as well as Global Gaming. Turns to the outside at the top of the corkscrew section though.
Oh, number's been spun off at the entry to the corkscrew.
Yeah, that's
you gotta try to filter into single file. It's the fastest way around. You can see the Global Gaming car of Gustas there, profiting from Boz's mistake on the exit. I think he was just a little hesitant on the throttle. Different line in for Boz, but he's making it work. Teemu Soini, somewhat the widest out of the 3, had to check up as to not run into the back of the man in second
cars
position.
At the gravel.
Oh, and yeah, Gavin Peak was one of them. It's dropped him from 4 positions ahead of Jaban to right the back of the grid. We're now 5 wide going into the 180-degree hander. Koivunen and Unite and Twin and Cardall. So the top finishers from the last race, all in here at the middle part of the lap.
Back at the front though, Teemu Soini off the track for a moment there. The World Class Lions cars shuffle in positions. Looks as though Teemu Soini is going to miss out to Global Gaming and Kig there. Back down a couple of positions. So World Class Lions Boz there into the long right-hander. dive bombed Gustas, and you can see he's not happy about that. Sends one right back up the inside as well to retake third position. These guys are fighting over the last step on the podium.
This is
They
really
get it
aggressive
slowed
stuff.
down for the tight right-hander though. Gustas with a great apex there. Has almost got his at least front axle alongside Chris McElroy. Again though, the outside for the slow right-hander, slow left-hander, sorry. Followed again by a slow right-hander. Red into the back of Boz there. Contact in the background. One car on the grass. Looks like the two teammates battling. I believe there are a couple of global gaming cars as Chris McElroy makes contact with the race leader, trying to get as close as possible. He is under pressure from the global gaming car of Gustas though. Back down in fourth earlier on. He's made his way up to second position now if he can keep the inside.
Boz going for a late lunge. Contact again.
Boz has been incredibly good on the brakes. Gustas now has the overlap as they tuck into single file up the Eau Rouge corkscrew section. We'll call it Eau Rouge today since we're taking it uphill. With us running the reverse configuration of Aston North. Gustas now challenging for the lead of the race. If he can out-drag Tyler down the hill, he'll have the inside for the initial turn-in.
Oh, thought about a late
Tyler
send.
to take the corner quite tight. Pinched him on the outside of the track.
Elmo's lost out to Sherlock for P4, but now Elmo taking rather aggressive lines to try and get it back, but thinks better of it. Red's up to P5. He's battling with Talbidaz and Boz.
Boz down in 7th position now. He was
It's
at quite
so
a few
busy at the
positions
front of this
earlier on
race.
in this lap.
That grid flip really turned everything on
It
its
absolutely
head.
did.
And we've seen it round after round where the reverse race, even though these drivers were at the back of the result for the first race, they are not slouches, and they do not make it easy for him to get through. So that keeps the field closer together for a lot longer. And at the tighter tracks like the Fern Bays and such, more contact pitches a lot of drivers off and it clears out earlier. But at a track like this, where you have plenty of room for the mistakes and everything, it keeps everyone concertinaed right close together.
Yeah, and Upsas being involved in a 20-car sandwich into the first of the hairpins. It's so busy. This is unbelievable.
Yeah, there's a car in the middle of shot there as well. That is Renault Coots, all the way from the back of the grid up into 14th position. He's gained 18 positions as the man who won race number 1 in just 2 laps alone as we round the final corner to complete lap number 2.
If it looks
Renault
crazy,
Coots now up to 13th position and hungry for more.
Yeah,
he could be on for a top 5 finish, if not a podium, by the time this race is over, gents.
Yeah, fastest lap for Sherlock, but Renault Coots on the inside of 3 cars. There's contact,
it's contact between. That
was Boz, I think.
The 57 global gaming car as well, losing out multiple positions. Yes Motorsports up the inside now as we go up Eau Rouge for the 3rd time, and Renault Coots is right behind. Number 57 is
ahead.
That's World Class
3 cars
off to the left there. He's spectated from the race.
And importantly too, Gavin Pete, after being back down to second last, is now right behind Japan as they both go on the inside of Phantom.
Going for a move.
Gavin right up the middle, so sneaking right up a
3 wide.
1 car size gap in the middle. Ooh, they're making a bit of contact. Now side by side.
Ooh, contact
Pete
between.
is just ahead of Japan.
That's all he needs to do.
And now Gavin Pete has neutralized Japan's +1 from the last race, but there's still 7 laps to go, so there's still chance, but just up ahead there's 3 and 4 wide as Pete goes for a send up the red bot. I think that was just a bit of a effect of the slowing down of the gaggle ahead, and it is just an absolute gaggle of cars. We have Sabat upside down at the hairpin, and yeah, things are stretching out a little bit here in the sweeping section, but it is absolute all action.
Yeah, Japan's been caught napping. He needed to stay 1 place ahead of Gavin Pete to seal the Drivers' Championship today. That's slipping away. He's got Redbot for race green ahead of him. He needs to get past Redbot. He's going for it. Side by side through the middle of the sweepers. The car ahead of him, the blue and white, the other blue and white car of Team Racing. That's Gavin Pete. That's what he needs to get past before Gavin Pete gets past any more cars. absolute traffic jam into the first hairpin. This is what happens when you reverse the grid. Absolute traffic jam out there for these guys. It must be fun, you have to say.
Yeah, Renault Coots doing yeoman's work up to P8 already, and all will probably be P7 before the pit straight. So Renault Coots last to P8. So Renault Coots doing a very good, clean drive so far.
Yeah,
And,
he's up 24 positions from where he started. And with that mistake from Upsas here, it looks as though Global Gaming Minvi and Renault Coots will profit from this into the braking zone for turn 1. For lap number 4, will he make it 3 wide? Chooses to stay behind on the outside, but crucially now he can take the perfect racing line, hit the apex nicely, and switch back the two of them. He's going to profit 2 positions now up to P6 is Renault Coots. Just as the overlap, not quite, contact between Minvi and Renault Coots. Minvi into the tyres.
P6 though, that's incredible. After 3 laps.
And just look how quick he's going to catch up to the global gaming car of Erotica now in P5. I guarantee he'll almost be able to touch Erotica's rear bumper in about 300 meters time.
Oh, 3
just
wide
watch
into
this.
the fast left-hander between Kid and Botsy and Kevin, and they sort themselves out beforehand, but that was a bit of a leery moment.
I'm keeping my eyes firmly focused on Jaban at the moment because Kevin Pete's taken a wide line around the 180-degree right-hander. Yeah, contact with Yaroslav Donalik, and that means that there are now 2 cars between Jaban and Kevin Pete. There's door-to-door contact everywhere here. It's just what happens when everyone gets forced together. Donalik off the road, Kevin Pete now with only 1 car between him, but it's switched again. Jaban in the perfect place to lift the Drivers' Championship trophy in 3 laps' time.
Keep an eye out though on the battle for 3rd position. Renault Coots has made short work of this pack of 3 now.
That's unbelievable.
In a space of 6 corners, he's up into the podium positions. His tyres look healthy as well. Looks as though he's definitely going to have the pace to push all the way to the checkered flag. I think definitely 2nd position is possible for him at this stage of the race. However,
Gavin Pete right back up to the back bumper of Jaban as Pete got around Yaroslav Donalik into the first of the 3 hairpins and went full send on the group. And so with Jaban being in the middle of this gaggle, Gavin can try and slice and dice his way back up there, so it's not over yet. And Pete and Jaban will be fighting for every position they can get this race. And Jaban right up the back of Tatvidas on the move into the hairpin, so that's putting now another car between Pete. Pete going full send, looking like he was getting ready to go full send into the first corner, now alongside Bots. Bots looking like he's going to yield that position. Kid following him through.
Yeah, Kid just took full advantage of that one.
Renault Coots going to relieve Gustas of 2nd position now. Onto the back straight we go. The man from the back of the grid who won race number 1 is going to try it around the outside here. Oof. There is contact between the 2. It looks like Gustas is going to be off into the kitty litter. Renault Coots managed to keep it on the track. He's of course lost time to the race leader, but crucially has track position now.
Oh, and that nearly held Jaban up.
To me,
that was so close.
I believe that looked like a racing incident. I don't think anyone's worthy of a penalty there.
Definitely.
This is what happens in the heat of the moment. But Renault Coots last time around set the fastest lap of the race, and it's about 9/10 of a second faster than the race leader. And Renault Coots had to make positions up on the lap he set.
3 cars
well.
off in the background. This is
huge crash up
more
ahead.
than touring cars now. This
Upsas and others have gone through. That everybody ahead of Jaban is trying to do everything to cause Jaban to have a brown trouser on his shirt. Gavin Pete with a move up the left-hand side, and that might be a bit of a discussion in the steward's room after the meeting. Gavin Pete going 4 wheels over the line on the left hand and gaining a couple positions.
I don't know what's going on here. It looks like the global gaming cars are driving with red mist because there's another collision down into the first hairpin. The Born to Race car of I think that was Ayub spinning out, or who was that, Twin? One of them. It seems every single incident has a global gaming car involved in it at the moment. Oof, this has been a very,
And
very scrappy race.
with all the falling off in this last lap, suddenly Jaban, Minve, Pete, top 5 now. Jaban is 4th, Pete is P6, but not for very much, or for probably not for very much longer, as he's got Minve just ahead. Then Jaban catching up to Unite now as they head towards Eau Rouge.
Ooh, Talbot getting very close to the back of Gavin Pete there. It seems as though Global Gaming have been bottling up some anger as Kid goes for a send on Talvidas. That was aggressive. Forces Talvidas off onto the grass a little bit. There's quite a lot of daylight between Gavin Pete and Jaban. Yeah, Gavin Pete's hopes of lifting the... Yes?
Renault Coots can win this race.
He's still in the race, therefore I think that means he can win it. I think
But
based on what's going on behind.
The fact that he lost out so much last time around at the corner prior.
There's quite a lot of space there.
6.4 seconds down on Sherlock in the lead there, but Renault Coots has just taken 0.8 of a second out of Sherlock in the first sector alone on this lap. The gap is down to about 5 seconds, and if he can keep taking a second a sector, he can win this race.
Yeah, there's way
Purple
too much
in
to
sector
focus
2
on.
though is the leader of the race. 0.2 up on Renault Coots is Sherlock in sector 2 though. Overall, Renault Coots has made a gain of about 0.7 of a second. The gap is just above 5 seconds, 5.17 to be precise.
Gavin, sorry for the interruption. Gavin Pete is closing up on Jaban. Just looking at comparing the tires between the two TRR drivers. Jaban hotter tires than Pete, so going a little more slidey through the sweeping sections. And this could be on very soon if Jaban's tires don't get into a better position. They're in clear traffic now, so they don't have to worry about so much. It's just these two. Botsy right behind, so Botsy's in with a shout at this P4 as they come onto the pit straight to get 3 to go.
Renault Coots just set a 2-minute 15.89. That is 1.8 seconds faster than Sherlock's lap.
3 to
Gap
go.
down to 4.4 seconds.
Loads of moves going on up ahead. Rick Cardle moving up past Upsas. Kid still trying to fight it out with Mimv and Talvidas. This battle is never ending between Kid and the Global Gaming cars. Seems like everything he does just doesn't pay off. But it's still really close between Gavin Pete and Jaban. And now Botsy is getting in on the mix.
Yeah, Botsy going to try and make life difficult for Pete. Jaban got a couple wheels off just barely onto the grass at the top of Eau Rouge. That very nearly compromised.
Oh, Jaban!
But he did get it. He did get it wrong at the top corner. Now side by side, Gavin Pete is ahead, and Botsy is going to try and follow through. And Jaban leaving room, so no aggro there.
Jaban
that has completely undone and thrown the championship battle wide open again.
Absolutely, it's as though Jaban's trying to delay it till the final race.
More drama that way.
Yeah, I suppose. More drama for us. It means both championships will be crowned next week if it stays like it is. Obviously, Jaban will have a huge advantage over Gavin Pete, but yeah, it looks like it's going to come down to the final race because Jaban is dropping back quite a way. But look at this. Rick Cardle's got everything going on behind him. He's got Talbidas, Mimv and Kid who are all seeing red mist. They've been knocking 9 bells out of each other for the last 6 laps. Let's see what happens. Yep, more contact with Kid there at the back of Talbidas. Goes for the send. Contact with both of those cars. Kid needs to calm down a little bit, I think. If he gets past one, that opens the door for Upsas, who moves past Talbidas. And that's a world-class Lions car of Yoni Katilla, who hasn't made as much progress through this race as Renault Coots managed, but he's up to P11, 1 step away from P10.
I would say that the racing in this race is kind of like I went to a hockey game and a race broke out.
That's brilliant.
Just a little information on Renault Coots again. He took 1.76 seconds out of the race leader 2 laps ago. He's just taken another 1.65. The gap now down to 2.7 seconds. Renault Coots can definitely see the race leader. And with another about 3 minutes of racing,
He could do this easily, I
Coots
think.
can make this 1.9 second deficit now under 2 seconds, and with a lap and a half in hand.
Oh, Butsy with a look on Gavin Pete into the left-right switchback, but yielding that and thinking a little better of it. But Butsy going to be hounding, trying to get P4 from Pete here on this antepenultimate, or on the penultimate lap, excuse me.
Yeah, Japan is still there, so if there's contact between Botsy and Gavin Pete, the ticker tape will be out for Japan, but not just yet. He's been ahead of Gavin Pete. He's been behind Gavin Pete. He's been ahead again, and now he's behind again in this race. Yo-yo race for Japan, and 2 cars separate him from the Drivers' Championship in round 43.
And Rick Cardall just sneaking up to the back of this, so we're going to have a 4-car scrap for the bottom part of the top 5 now.
Sherlock's really struggling with his tyres in the lead of the race. I reckon there'll be a change into turn number 1.
Here comes Rick.
If not sooner.
Oof.
Japan was having a look around the outside of Botsy at the corner, and I was opening the door for Rick, who was very keen on it, but decides better of it in the end as we come onto the final lap now.
Yeah, it's closer than ever between Renault. What's the gap at the line?
It was
close.
0.92 at the last split. It's now 0.82, so a tenth out of the leader did Renault Coots take in that final sector. Less than a second to make up. He was about 1.8 seconds faster than Sherlock last time around, so only has to make up half the time he did on the lap prior. Sherlock, though, suffering with the tyre temperature. It's going to hinder him in this long left-hander where you need to carry as much speed as possible. Side-by-side run, Renault Coots and Global Gaming Sherlock, who's going to come out on top. Hopefully there's not contact here between these two, and they can continue to battle for the remainder of the final lap. Sherlock very late on the brakes and got the car slowed down nicely for the direction change to the right. Renault Coots looking for the switchback though. They run alongside. It's all about who can brake later and get it turned into, I think this is turn 7. Contact. Sherlock losing out a little bit on the exit there, having to take the longer route out of the corner. Can he fight back though?
I don't think so. I think that's game
It's
over.
very tricky on this middle sector for Sherlock as well, because he tends to pick up dirt on his tyres from running a little bit too close to the grass, and that hinders him in the next corners.
Pete got a custard run out of Eau Rouge this lap, and Botsy got around him going into the left-right. Japan was catching, but Rick has been working Japan, and they're side by side now through the double left-hander and into the long left-hander. But Pete went from having the best tires to the worst tires of this group as we come into the final sections of corner, and it's not over yet as Cardall runs up the inside of Pete and spins and makes contact. Now Japan and Pete and
my God.
Botsy side by side. So this is going to be a drag race between these two in the final lap as Rick Cardall makes his presence known. Now Pete tucks up the inside.
This is the battle for the championship.
Japan have the inside for the final corner. It could be a drag race. Now is Japan going
That's unbelievable.
Run wide, and can Pete take a run up? No, he gets stunted by Japan, and Japan on the last lap.
What's going to happen
thanks
here?
to a lunge from Rick Cardall has taken the championship on the line.
That's what did we just see there? Renault Coots wins the race, followed by Sherlock and Unite. But then it's Japan who wins the Team Up Racing 2020 Championship Drivers' Championship. That is incredible. I don't think you'll see a finish like that in. Well, I'm absolutely stunned. He lost that race so many times and gained it back, but when it mattered on the final corner, thanks to a little bit of contact with another car, Jaban wins the Teamwork Racing 2020 Championship in spectacular fashion. Congratulations to Jan Bukowski and Teamwork Racing for securing the first of the championships here today. That was quite something. Yeah, it was. There was a lot of drivers crashing into each other. It has to be said, but yeah, nothing takes away from Teamwork Racing in Japan. P4 in the race manages to get ahead of Kevin Pete, and barring any penalties, he will take that trophy with him. Commiserations for Kevin Pete. He fought long and hard all season long. But eventually not enough to better his teammate in the end. Well done to Rick Cardle for finishing P6 after that final hairpin. He managed to keep the car on the road enough to finish in P6. Then Joni Katila, as I mentioned before, not the best run through the field, but still finishes P7, a good result. Then Botsy, Kidd and Upsas round out the top 10. So with the Unites in P3, Jack and Jonathan, it looks like Yes will cling on in the Teams Championship, but only just. Teamwork Racing have taken a good haul of points again in the Teams Championship. We'll have to see how that one unfolds. That will be written next week. We do not have a clear winner yet in the Teams Championship. Just outside the top 10, it's the second of the global gaming cars, Taut Vidas in P11. Then Ayub El Hanouni in P12, followed by Red in P13. Then it's Phantom, P14, Trespasser, P15, Mimv in P16, Yes Motorsports Number, P17, Global Gaming Erotica in P18. Then we've got Pekka Koivunen for World Class Lions, Yaroloko, Yaroslav Donlik, Kig, Texas, Gustash and Twin round out the top 25. Talha in P26, Redbot P27, P28 for Yari Katila. Chris McElroy, after starting on the first row in second place, finishes down in 29th. World Class Lions Team Soini P30. Bortz for Teamwork Racing in P31 and Sandro Chanturia in P32. Kind of remarkable that with 34 starters we only lost 2 cars from that race. Very surprising, in fact. Apologies to Renault Coots for not showing him crossing the line. It was just far too interesting down the order between Jaban and Gavin for the Drivers' Championship. I hope he forgives us for that. But yeah, what a race and what a season for Jan Bukowski.
I'm going to need to at some point go back and re-watch that ending because I'm still processing what I saw. My views were kind of split between the stream on one of my monitors and my view of Renault Coots crossing the line on another. What a fantastic drive, winning both races from the back of the grid as well. And the majority of the pack were setting lap times in the 2:17, 2:18 mark. Renault Coots 2-minute 15.8, the only person in the 15s, the closest person to him 9/10 down the road. So an absolute display of dominance there from Renault Coots.
Yeah, remarkable result from Renault Coots to get from the back to the front, and there was such a huge margin between him and Sherlock with 4 laps to go. I didn't think he was going to manage it, but yeah, really good effort, and a good way to bring the Drivers' Championship to a close as well. But you'll have to wait one more week to find out what will happen in the Teams Championship. It's going to be a knockout between Yes Motorsport and Teamwork Racing, probably with the closest margin that it's been all season long. We really can't wait for that here. Hopefully we get a packed house. The final race of the year-long Teamwork Racing 2020 Championship comes to a close next week, Tuesday, at the same time here on Sim Broadcasts. Hope to see you then for that. That will take place at K32 at Kyoto in the BF1 from 8 o'clock on Tuesday the 24th of November. We hope to see you there for that. Coming up this week on Sim Broadcasts, we have Master Race Cars BF1 League. That's taking place this Sunday from... it's in the afternoon, isn't it? What time is that on, lads? I've completely forgotten. I think it starts at 3 o'clock, the race, but yeah, qualifying slightly before. You can sign up for that on the Live for Speed forum. 5 rounds of that championship streamed live on Sim Broadcasts. We can't wait to see that.
So yes,
2:15
Master
UTC.
Race Cars BF1 League 2020, of course, will be live on Sunday, the 22nd of November at 14:15 UTC, and that's from West Hill International, of course, in the BF1.
12th of December, another event from Master Race Car. It's their e-challenge. Sign-ups are still open for that on the Live for Speed forum. That's a collaboration between Master Race Car, New Dimension Racing, and us at Sim Broadcasts around the masterfully made New York E-Prix track by Michael Malik. Should be a great one. Sign up for that on the Live for Speed forum. So, after a very entertaining evening of racing, Renault Coots triumphs with a double win in the TRR Championship, and Japan lifts the Drivers' Championship. Tune in next week to the Team Racing Championship with us here on Sim Broadcast to see who will be crowned in the Teams Championship. We can't wait. Thank you all for watching. Thank you, Jack and Deco, as ever, for joining me in the commentary booth. Thanks to Tilo for giving us the standings in our ears and the updates throughout the event and all these graphics that we are showing on screen. From all of us here, have a great evening. Good night.